again. Take 3. How we doing? Let us know in chat. We're fiddling with stuff, working out some audio issues. Thank you for being here. Leave a comment in the chat. Let me know how we sound. Mace, how you sound?
I feel like I sound...
I'll tell you what. You sound great live.
Oh, it says much better.
You sound great live in person.
You sound great live. You were doing some little singing. Nice. I hope the stream gets to hear some of it. Yay. Thumbs up from Gabe.
Yeah?
All we had to do was restart the computer.
Yeah, we just turned it on again, off again. So that's the secret. It actually works.
Thank you so much for staying patient, guys.
Yeah.
And hanging out for the stream. I guess we can now finally proceed.
All right. Now to the good stuff. Today we're painting the Cerberus Warhound from Hellscape. Here is a fully painted prototype. How's that in frame?
A little bit further away from you.
All right.
That's good to me. If you move it to your right a little bit, it'll get better light. Yeah.
Cool. Yes, this is what we're working on here. This is one of the prototypes you would have seen in like convention builds and photography and video during the Hellscape Kickstarter. But we have a special treat and a special challenge today because now we've got lights. We've got LEDs. Yeah, so this is the next step in the process. This will be kind of the official paint master that it's manufactured from. So it has all the technical doohickeys implemented. And so we're painting around that. It's cast in its actual color.
I've heard this mini also has an actual name. No.
Other than Cerberus Warhound?
I thought so.
Was there did it have a funny nickname?
Never mind. Never mind. Maybe I'm wrong.
I didn't hear. What would it be named, though?
I don't know.
No, let's decide. What's that?
Houndy McHounderson.
Houndy McHounderson.
I would name it Fido-Do-Do.
Fido. Why the 3 does? It's actually just Fido, but we said its name in the previous streams when it was trapping, and that's what it sounded like. Yeah, Trido. There we go.
Yeah. Wait, no, doesn't it have 3 heads?
No, it does. No, I get it. I was making a joke about technical difficulties, but it fell flat.
About our disco.
Yeah, so I've already done some work here just to get through some of the basic parts. This was entirely yellow when it was cast, so I did the black base coat across all of these areas. There's going to be some touch-ups in the details on the face. That's probably the most precise step, is just getting your neat lines on the black areas around the yellow casting color, since you're kind of leaving it blank. But the next step after you do the black base coat is we're going to start working on the armor here. So we're going to get it to look something like this, and it's going to end up looking like that. So what's that?
Sorry, how many base coats were needed to stop the LED light coming through?
That's a good question, actually, and brings me to a couple things I wanted to say and almost forgot. One of the big important steps with LEDs that I stole from Aaron's scheme across all of Lava, since they're light panels, is, so we turn these on already. Turn on the lights, and anywhere that the light is actually shining on the model, you need to base coat it white first before you paint any black on it. It seems counterintuitive, but what would happen otherwise is as the light is glowing, that top layer of black would absorb all the light. So with a layer of white underneath, it actually reflects some of the light back and makes it glow more. So that's the same thing that Aaron did on all the black, rocky, ash-colored spots on the lava terrain. So it's going to be on these parts up by the head and face. Have all been painted white. And it's kind of a cool first step because you get a little more familiar with the model, and it gives you a little kind of map on where to paint the black afterward. But it is tough because you can't prime the whole thing. And a lot of Dwarvenite doesn't need priming, but some of the colors that are a little more fluid do have a little bit of trouble sticking in the first layer. So I did brush on some primer for the black areas, and just one, doesn't need to be opaque or anything, it just needs to be enough for the paint to grab onto it. And then the black probably took me 2 or 3 layers for full opacity. But once you have that black on, it's the most precise step, again, mapping out all the little outlines around the LEDs. But once you have that foundation, it usually doesn't take more than 2 layers for each base color.
Have you tried the blackest black on this?
I haven't tried the Blackest Black. We have that Black 3.0 that's been kickstarted in different iterations. I have to fiddle with it because I can't get it to the right consistency that I like to work at. It's almost like thick, and it has like a chalkiness to it almost.
It's very matte,
It's super matte, which is fine if you're going for that effect, but just like how to push it around on something small, it takes up a lot of space. It's kind of a thick formula. So maybe I don't know how to, thin it down correctly. I don't know what is in the formulation that makes it do that, but it's not just like acrylic. What's that?
So when you're dealing with a piece like this that has to have pieces that you want to paint around, that you want to do other things with, I have hellhounds at home that I want to paint, and they have a similar type of structure to the Cerberus, where it's like darker body, and then it has flames on top of it. How would you recommend like painting around something like that? Because I'm trying to figure out what spaces I want to put the black and what spaces I would want to put the flames.
Oh, so like a dark color next to a bright color?
Yeah, and like, is it better to just paint the whole structure the black and then paint the flames on top of that, or is it better
Definitely, I would not,
because it's a clear mini as well. It's like a clear like material.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to what I was saying about the white undercoat reflecting the light that's underneath the black layers. I would never want to paint something bright over black base coat.
Gotcha.
So I would probably paint the dark areas dark and just go, if you're doing flames, this is not gonna have opaque paint on it because it needs to have the light through. But if your model does, just go straight from white. Just do all the flame bright areas and just do yourself a favor and do a white undercoat, because you're going to get the opacity over black is going to take a million layers, and it will never get to like actual full brightness really.
Great.
But over white, it'll make your life a lot easier.
Thank you.
To do that, yeah, for sure. Yeah, so Black 3.0, I don't know. I still have it, on our shelf over there, but
I that's one of the things that I really want to try, especially with mini painting. But I feel like one thing about it being like actually taking in light, it might not be good for doing depth work on a mini, because you kind of want to like, I don't know, sometimes you want to use different blacks and stuff.
yeah,
But you have to be kind of specific with what blacks you use for shadows.
definitely.
I feel like matte would be really good for a shadow, but I can't think of much use on an actual minifigure where you want the light to... Because you're playing with light, especially at that small scale.
Yeah, no, that's true. And what's actually interesting is glossier blacks appear darker.
Huh.
Just the way that they have their own natural highlights, so they have more depth to your eyes because it's reading as more going on. So you're like, oh, I can't even... As the light kind of bounces off it, your eyes like, it's so deep and dark, I can't even figure out what exactly is going on, as opposed to a flat black matte surface. And what's funny about Black 3.0 is it literally will make something that's 3D look two-dimensional. Like, this is the silhouette.
You lose all detail. Yeah.
Because it absorbs like that much light, you can't even see like the light reflecting off of the edges and everything of the silhouette.
Well, it's definitely something that I want to try, but with mini painting, it's,
Definitely. Yeah, I don't know about mini painting. I'll have to see, I'll have to experiment, but definitely a cool effect. It's definitely a black. So after I get my black undercoat done, I start going on the armor. I save the flames for last because they're the coolest part, and they bring it together, make it look awesome, and it will take a little more precision as well, just getting around the LED and leaving the base color, some of the base color behind, untouched by paint. But the areas over the body are a little larger. It's not actually that tough of a paint, honestly. I think a lot of people would be able to do this one. It's pretty simple for the most part. So I have Picorni Deep Lava. This is one of my favorite colors. I used it on the Hellgate and the Dread Portal as well. It's part of that color scheme too. This whole kind of red metal appears on a lot of different pieces, so it's one of my favorite.
Speaking
colors.
Of Hellscape.
Yeah.
For our giveaway today.
Oh, that's right. There's a giveaway.
I know. I don't think we've actually fully announced what specifically we're giving away. Huh?
Can I enter?
No.
Can Eli enter?
Neither of you can enter.
What?
I'm so sorry, but you guys have to be active in the chat.
Oh,
on
well,
Twitch.
let me log in. Hello?
No. I mean, go ahead and log in and please get our view count up. But I feel like you don't need this.
All right, fine. Well, what's the giveaway?
So
what are we giving away?
That we're actually giving away quite a few prototype, I believe, pieces.
Oh, that's awesome. I actually haven't heard about
Hellscape Lava.
What we're giving away. We're giving away Hellscape prototypes?
Yeah, it's right behind you, son. We're getting
oh
that
my
approved.
God. Wait, this whole thing?
All right, it was cleared. If you want to hold it up to like your camera, maybe we can.
Oh my God.
Show people. But this is
the giveaway.
This is what we're giving away. We're gonna give it away at the end of the stream.
Freaking sweet. Look at this. This whole thing, you guys.
It is for U.S. only, sadly. It's the same rules that we use for every other contest. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
And the tray is included?
The tray is not included.
Okay.
That's purely for like holding it. But.
Cool. Yeah, so look at this. This is the prototype resin.
So it's not Warhound.
Yeah. But this is all hand painted by Aaron.
Yeah, this is
every
what
single
we used
piece
in the making of the Hellscape, like that whole Kickstarter video.
Man, look at this. This paint scheme is so cool. You see the light going through the material.
Yeah.
All right. That's awesome. All right, so yeah, what are the how does that work?
So, pretty much the rule. I'm just gonna post our other rules. Some of them are not the same because it's not like you have 48 hours to enter or 2 weeks or whatever. It's just for the stream. But at the end of the stream, we'll have people comment a certain keyword, and then they can enter, and then we'll get your info. As long as you're in the U.S., we'll be able to send you out a package. And we have giveaways actually for every stream this week. Potentially next week too. I think we're still kind of going over that. Is that a yeah? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, it hasn't been official. We're just trying to get through this week.
Every stream this week?
Yeah, we're very ambitious.
I want to be a viewer.
Yeah, well, get that phone out.
That's awesome. No, seriously, that's awesome. That's a very generous giveaway. That's super cool.
So somebody asked how long we're going to be streaming today. Approximately 2 hours. We might go over.
We'll probably go a little over. We had some hiccups at the beginning.
Yeah.
But we're probably gonna be able to finish this thing. So if it goes like 2.5 or something, we'll probably just wait it out till this thing is done. But like I say, it's not a super difficult paint, so I think we'll be able to do it. So I'm going into my Picorni Deep Lava here, and we're going over pretty much every piece of armor. And don't forget that the jaws are iron shackles, so those are also gonna get this base coat. But starting here, work pretty thin because we're going to do multiple layers. The Dwarvenite, the paint's not going to behave exactly like your plastic and resin miniatures, but don't fret. It's the same principle for the most part of just do 2 thin layers. But I think you can get away with slightly thicker paint, honestly.
You tend to use thinned out glazes though rather than the full strength?
I think typically I do, at least to start, just because you don't obscure detail. Because, you know, if you go too thick off the bat, it can sometimes obscure some of the details.
Kind of a weird aside.
Yeah.
You know how, like, many painters will paint a shield with, like, a really elaborate design? Like, I sent you one with, like, a galaxy on it. Have you ever done that on, like, fingernails? / what are your rates?
Have I done that on fingernails?
Yeah.
God, I think the only time that I have painted fingernails was at Gideon Pond Elementary in first grade.
Classic Gideon.
And
here we go.
I did it in the morning before school started, and all the kids made fun of me, so I sat on my hands at lunch and didn't eat any lunch.
Oh, that's too bad.
And I'm surprised at how vivid that memory is in my mind. It must have affected me more than I thought. So thank you for uncovering that, Mace.
I'm sorry. I would have supported you, and I feel like we're growing as people. Where now everyone's like, "Oh, Hamster, you look so great with red nails. It really brings out your red, beady little eyes."
It was red.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh man, how'd I know?
I haven't done a lot of nail painting.
Because I'm thinking I think that'd be a pretty cool little mural to have on my hand.
That would be cool. Wait, what would be the mural?
Who knows?
You just want a freehand design?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Finley says, I guess if you paint nails, you could have 10 practices before doing the detail on a mini shield.
There you go.
Fair. Maybe I'll just get a shield thumb.
10 drafts?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
You might want to move the mini back just a smidgel towards your cup a little bit. There you go.
More?
That's
Alright.
awesome.
I need a mark on my arm too.
Yeah, we need to figure out like a good system for like boxing it out, but
Yeah, so this one is almost dry. You want to make sure the first layers are dry before you go into the second, because if you start picking at it more, it'll start to pull it off actually if it's only partially dry.
Are you staying for the Caverns Deep stream tomorrow, Hamster?
Am I? I mean, I might. I wanna build a section. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
You got it. It's mandatory now. Oh, we forgot to give you your monitor feed.
Oh, that's okay.
Next time.
Next time, yeah. Yeah, that will help. I think that will kind of solve the. I should be able to just like glance at it and know kind of where I'm at in frame or not. But one of those things that'll develop as we go. We had to start before we were like, maybe we should do that, you know. I'm just glad we've started this stuff.
Yeah. Always edit after. So did you say that you did the entire first coat in white, or just the parts with the LED?
Yeah, not the entire thing. Only the stuff that you want the LEDs to show through. Or even surrounding. Like if I want the LED coming through the eyes, when there's black paint around the eyes, that's where you paint white. To reflect the LED back into the model, basically. As opposed to the black paint would absorb it, just like Black 3.0, where
right.
It would do that same thing.
I wonder if there's something that Black 3.0 could like be really effective at base coat wise.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know.
I want to use it so bad, but I just don't. You know, I don't know what to do.
I almost missed a spot.
Have you tried silver in place of white?
That is a good idea.
Because I've done both, and I'm not sure which is better.
Huh.
But yeah, I mean, I think they both work well. Of course, you know, they both are very reflective, but it's kind of hard to gauge which is superior. I haven't like done side by side.
Yeah. I only use white because I know Aaron did that on the lava. But silver would be interesting. I mean, it just says reflective. I guess my question would be, whichever is like, because it's a base coat, whichever gets like opaque first.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like they both would. That's a good point, actually. Try silver out, because especially if you can get it down in one coat, I'd probably use that over white if it covers a little better.
Right. Yeah.
Silver as a base?
Yeah, just to because all you want to do is reflect light back out into the LED.
Right. That's interesting.
So I mean, really, you could use yellow, or
I guess.
I probably wouldn't, just because yellow is typically thin and hard to get coverage with. But you know, any bright color, it doesn't have to be white.
The two thoughts that I would raise with that is, so you've told me that there is actual metal and metallic paints like that.
Yeah.
So then would the base be even more coats? And then also, is it cost effective? Because isn't normally white and black paint like very standard, like kind of cheap to buy compared to metallics?
I mean, if you're using like craft paints or a store brand or something of black and white, a lot of people get large containers of cheaper brands for that. But
sure.
If typically, in my experience, especially with hobby paints, most pots are like the same price, right? Even they're white and they're black. So, I guess if you want to avoid metallic pigments, because they do sometimes contaminate your brush a little bit, and so if you're going to be going between non-metallic and metallic paints, maybe that'd be a consideration. But that's a good point. I mean, you know, again, these are just base coats. The black is going to appear, you know, in the end result, it's going to be on there, but the white or whatever reflective or bright color you use is not going to appear. So you could use something cheaper just to get on the model for function. There we go. We're pretty much done. We got to get these puppy jaws one more time. And a lot of this deep lava color is going to be covered by metallic dry brush, so you want to make sure you get a nice opaque layer and get it kind of as far to the edges of like around the eyes and such. It's easy to look at it, and you might have black up to the eye here. and you don't really notice it, but you want to make sure you get that deep lava there because most of the deep lava is going to be covered up in a later step. Ooh, the knees are hiding on me too. The knee armor.
Oh, your friend MN Frostbite is here.
Frostbite!
He said hamster time and then a
Hey.
picture of a baby. Did you know, MN Frostbite, that this Sunday is Hamster's birthday?
That it is.
That it
it's
is.
on a weekend. That's kind of cool.
That is very cool.
Where do you get those hamster emotes?
Yeah, where's the hamster emotes?
What's that?
The baby. Wait, hamster, you have a tiny baby on your desk.
Oh yeah, on my desk over there I do, yeah.
What's
That's
that
from
about?
Toby.
Okay. I'm not surprised.
I came in one morning and it was sitting on a swamp piece, just a baby crawling away through the swamp. No explanation. The funny thing too is like it's only like an inch long, and it's made in China, so its whole torso has the word China across it because it, you know.
That's a sick tap, bro.
Yeah. All right.
How'd you get that scar?
What?
China scar.
Oh yeah. I thought there was a scar on my hand or something.
Oh no, that'd be a weird cue.
Oh, I got this bottom jaw too.
Rabbit Burner's going to bed. Night, Rabbit
Night,
Burner.
Rabbit Burner. Thanks for hopping in before bed. I didn't even realize. All right.
So the LEDs are in the mouth of it?
They're actually kind of like right in the skull, but the light does appear through the eyes and the mouth.
I see. What about the hair?
Yeah, some of the flame hair mane, it does come through. So I think I'm going to utilize that and do a little less paint up here. Just to leave as much of the casting color as possible so that the light is not covered up.
Yeah, this casting color actually took a lot of attempts between us and the factory to get it like perfect for. Aaron had to do a lot of different painting schemes, and it was just all trial and error, but we sent in a lot of stuff and they sent back a few other things, and this is, I guess, what we landed on.
Alright, so now I'm getting some Sassoon silver. I think I'm going to add just a touch of black to it, just to get kind of like gunmetal. That's a little too much black. And we're going to dry brush over all that we just painted with deep lava. Make sure to get plenty of it off so it doesn't streak on you, because spots like this that are large and flat can streak really easily. So just have a light touch.
Bastard of Buffalo said that this is much larger than I expected, and I think this is all. Yeah, it's a very big mini.
It's a big miniature. Like this is like a hobby tube of paint. You know, it's pretty big. And what's great about this step is you can be pretty sloppy, and like even if you kind of brush it on the legs and everything, it's very easy to cover it up in just one quick layer of black if you get over the edges a little bit. So you can kind of go nuts here. You just want to be careful up by the casting color here.
Oh, we have somebody here that was at the PAX booth.
Oh, nice. Hey,
Collins
welcome.
FTW for the win.
Hey.
Yeah, you probably met either Selena, Nate, or Toby, or all three of them.
Awesome. Yeah, I heard nothing but great things about PAX.
It's my favorite convention that we've like worked at.
Yeah.
It's very low key, but like, I mean, I don't know if low key is the word, but it's everybody's just so nice and like organized.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So how is painting lava different for you other than base wise than painting like a typical like dungeon gray mini?
Well, let's see. The biggest thing is leaving the elements that are going to be LED. The lava terrain, I actually didn't paint any of that. That was all Aaron. So I did the Hellgate. I didn't do any pieces that had actual lava on it. So it was a little closer to me. For me, it was a little bit closer to like the other stuff where you're not worrying about the cool like practical effects. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not doing the light panel stuff. That was all her.
You're doing a dry brush right now?
I'm doing dry brush.
Okay,
yeah. Just overall the parts that we just painted that kind of reddish brown. Get that knee armor. And onto the faces. This is another area where you want to be a little more careful because you don't want to get too much paint on the eyes. It's likely not going to show up too much if you have a very dry brush and you don't have wet paint on there at all. But just be mindful of it.
Ooh. If you could do an alt paint scheme and change the color of this mini, what color would you use?
Of this mini.
Yeah.
See, it's interesting because you think of like Hellscape and you just think fire and lava, right? But I think I always like ghostly spectral flames, like a green flame, like necrotic sort of flame, or like a
I was thinking
ghostly
green too.
blue, yeah.
Like kind of like a gross sewery.
Yeah, sewery.
Yeah. Like a nasty ghost dog.
Yeah, and like so if it's like a sewery ghost, maybe there's a bunch of like weathering on the armor and it's like all rusty and
nasty.
stuff and all nasty,
it's like
and it has sludge on it and stuff.
Like weathered. What is it called when copper oxidized?
Yeah, like that verdigris on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
I actually got one unpainted because we want to do an alt paint scheme to try and make like a fey.
Yeah, that'd be
Cerberus.
cool. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
That would be cool. So Nina's actually in chat. She said that this casting material actually allows you to skip the white paint base.
Is that right?
Yes, I think what you're using it for is like for the specific LED thing though.
Well, no, but it could also be that maybe we were doing that for the prototypes that were slightly
Initially,
different.
yeah, there was a white base.
Maybe that's what Aaron was doing. I just remember I almost put black paint to piece, and I was like, wait, I remember Aaron used white. So there you go. That's all. That answers that right there. You can skip a step for yourself.
What about a frozen hell dog? Says Kaiju 9515.
Frozen hell dog with an ice blue flame. That'd be awesome.
It light up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was also kind of thinking like just classically Dwarven Forge purple is kind of another like ghoulish like ghost
purple,
color,
purple
something
dog.
spiritual.
Can't go wrong with purple at Dwarven Forge.
Yeah, purple is I feel like it's half the people's here favorite color. What's your favorite color?
Besides purple?
Is it purple?
Definitely. I'll tell you this. I think purple is one of my favorite colors to paint. Just like the paints typically go on really well. You know, different colors have different pigments, which makes them like behave differently, and it's easier to kind of get the result you want with them sometimes. And purple is one of those colors that behaves really nicely.
Would the LED work throughout the mini? Oh, I think that's in reference to the painting the white thing. But the LED, it's in the skull area, you said?
Yeah, here, let's turn it back.
So
on.
it's...
You can see them kind of planted like right in there.
Working mostly, yeah, so it's in the head area mostly.
Yeah.
Have we seen this on a panel?
On a light panel?
Yeah. Like bare base.
Well, so this is cast as one piece now. So it's always on a base like this.
Oh,
but
Nate says purple, ship it.
Ship
also.
it. But that's why the base is also in that casting color so that it will work on the light panels. So this will have the
I was wondering if like the electronics maybe anything, but I'll just have to see for myself. I'll just steal it from your desk.
So I'm just taking my black and cleaning up some of the dry brush spots I got on different areas.
Finley says you guys have done an amazing job. Thank you very much, Finley.
Yay! It's really cool to see people come back regularly and return and see you all ask questions, and that makes it fun for us.
Yeah, it makes you feel connected too.
Yeah.
Dumb question. Is it just a watch battery for the LED? How long do they last? Merc 90. It is a what is it? CR. What is the 4.3? It's basically a watch battery.
Yeah, it is. It is similar to a watch battery. They last a pretty long time too.
Yeah. It also so we've learned here that you can't stack these on top of one another.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, they will drain themselves. It's not like normal batteries where you can
And
kind of
they'll be
just put it in
hot.
a drawer. Yeah. And it'll melt plastic. It's a CR 2032 battery.
Cool.
Steve of the Seven Seas.
Hey, ahoy, matey!
Ahoy, yar. He says, first time watching. I gotta get better at painting. Just started. Any hacks?
Any hacks? Just put your butt in a chair and go and experiment and paint without fear. That's the biggest thing that'll bog you down is getting trying to be perfect the first time. Just start putting colors down. Just get a very basic set of paints, a couple different brands even if you want. Don't feel like you have to buy the whole set. Just get cheap golden Taklon brushes, the little snappier guys. They're literally golden yellow. This is kind of looks like that. Get a bunch of cheap packs so you can shred them apart and open a new pack and get a new one and just go to town. And pick a miniature that excites you. Something that's going to get you back in the chair. And pick colors. So pick a miniature that you're super pumped to paint and pick your colors for that. Don't try to be like, oh, I need to have every single color that I ever want to use. Just finish your first project and feel like that spark of excitement from, completing something cool.
Steve has posted a Bob Ross photo. And then Sly Flourish said, I had a lot of success painting minis I didn't care about to begin with. So I guess that's a little bit opposite.
All right.
But I think Sly Flourish is saying orcs, goblins, lizard folk, they're hard to screw up. And I would also say that minis that are repetitive kind of like that would get you better at honing in your skills.
Sure.
And then you're not terrified of ruining. So when I buy a notebook, I never write in it because I'm like, oh, but it's so pure and perfect. Why would I damage it? And I feel like maybe some of the minis are that same way where you want to practice your penmanship first.
I do get that.
Yeah.
But here's the trap. If you have a bunch of goblins and skeletons that are like, oh, these are so easy. I just wash them and dry brush them and they're done. They look great. If you start feeling like a bit of a slog with those, switch it up. Always, at least at first, at a certain point you're painting an army and you're like, I just got to get through these. But if you ever feel that slump, switch the project. Even just have two things going on your desk at once.
Sly said he's right. I started painting lizard folk and now I don't. And now I got bored and haven't finished them. So it's a little bit, I don't know, that
take from both. Take from both of these sentiments.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
My advice is be patient. Be patient with yourself, because the first thing is not going to be a masterpiece, but it'll be fine as long as you are patient with your technique. Just don't try to rush it too much. It doesn't have to take 40 years, but particularly if you're doing things in layers, it's always easy to want to just slop on a gallon, but it's better to do 2 or 3 layers, a little thinner, save the detail.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's our sculptor Eli, who's in the office. If you're just joining us, we have Eli in studio this week. We're really excited. He's just off camera.
Hello, folks.
Yeah, a lot of time. What I've been doing now, I haven't had a bunch of time to paint my own stuff at home, but normally I have my project that's the big thing that's part of the army. I'm excited for it, but it's all right, I got to knock these 10 guys out, get them on the battlefield, and then I have another thing on my desk that's just to kind of pick at. Just have a space marine that I want to practice blending on or doing cool effects on. And it's just the thing that, you know, if I'm feeling that slump, you can get an extra 15 minutes out of yourself by just switching and doing something else, like mentally. You're just like, I'm not doing an assembly line this time. I'm just working on the shoulder pad and trying to get a cool, like, reflective kind of light effect going on, or something like that. 2 different types of projects.
I think that's really smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keeps it fresh and interesting.
Yeah. So I didn't mention this, but since we were dry brushing with the silver, I'm not dry brushing it for these chains. What I'm doing is taking a good amount of the paint off for the chains around the head here, and just using the side of the brush and letting the texture pick it right off. It's similar to dry brushing, but you don't, because these chains are so thick and heavy, it will take that paint off pretty easily, and you don't need to like brush with super dry pigment. You can leave a little bit of the wet stuff on there and just use a very light brush pressure and the side of the tip of the brush and just let it grab it. And that's what's cool about a lot of Dwarven Forge pieces is the texture, because they're this like nice hefty size. The textures are like pretty deep and you know, thoroughly sculpted, and so you can use this technique a lot of just letting the texture and the sculpt work for you and just letting it grab the paint, even just straight up wet paint. Just use that side of the brush technique. You know, it's not like really fine textures on a tiny little model, because we have these bigger pieces. You can use this to your advantage.
Dice for Hire says, is this a Dwarvenite or Resin Warhound?
This is Dwarvenite, but it's our special hellscape color for the lava effect with the light panels and the LEDs. Can you see that?
A little bit lower. There you go.
Yes. So what's important when you're painting one of these pieces with LEDs too, especially because I haven't painted, this is the original one, and this didn't have any LEDs. So you notice things like the ears and stuff are opaque and everything, but I haven't decided yet for the final with the LEDs if the ears will be opaque and effects like this. It's much easier when you're going with the black here around the LED areas to use it sparingly, because it's hard to remove the paint and have it have the glowy effect once you have it on there. It's possible. You can even scrape at it gently with a hobby knife or take a little bit of rubbing alcohol and it will pull it off, but that will also start to pull off surrounding layers if you touch it. So it's better to be preventative and careful and precise at first, because you can always slap black into this ear, but I left it. That may not be the final result, but it's easier to be conservative at first around these lit parts. So you can always add more.
You edit first then.
What's that?
So you like edit before you continue on, just
yeah,
so you don't
just
forget
around
it.
the LEDs, like.
I hear that.
Just because you want it to be the light to shine through, and even if you scrub off the paint, it's still going to leave a little bit of a film and speckles on there, so it won't have the same effect as if it was just bare.
I also feel like that's one of those things where it's a mistake that you're like, oh yeah, I'll fix that later, but then later will come and then it'll be something you're like, I totally missed that.
Right.
Would you paint the lava cavern pieces the same as this, like on the yellow dwarvenite?
Yeah, they're all cast like this. It's part of the scheme that allows the cool light panel effect to work, but is designed to look equally as awesome without the light panels too. So that's kind of why we experimented with the casting colors so much, is to get that balance of look sweet illuminated, look sweet unilluminated.
It is insane, like on a light panel or not, it's insane how real, like just alive it looks.
Alive is a great word for it. It just is incredible.
Like I could swear that some of it's moving sometimes. Like I'll stay still and I'll be like, that's moving, that's real, but I don't know. It looks very good. It like actually made me gasp when I saw the initial photos of it.
Yeah. Now I tell you what, I've already gasped at some of the stuff that's coming up in this Kickstarter. I'm not going to say anything, but
yeah,
I've had some visceral reactions.
I have too.
So what I'm doing here is there's a couple elements that are going to be bronze, but especially because we're painting over black, I'm just taking any generally brown color. I have the deep lava out now, but I'm giving it a coat of that first, because it will help get that bronze to be opaque in fewer layers. I'm kind of underpainted. And it's nice that we're using the deep lava because if some of it does show through, it'll just look like a similar tone that's already on the model, so it'll look like it fits. So I'm just doing a touch. And again, this is the side of the brush technique again, because this detail is really deep lines in that. So just letting it grab. And this doesn't have to be opaque because you're just wanting to paint over it. So, and these will end up being bronze. So we'll just hit it with that. It will just take more layers with just bronze. Like, you can do it, but it will take a little more time. So this is kind of a shortcut to help you. Are the bottoms? Yeah, the bottoms of that. Yeah, I'm excited to be painting this because, you know, it was, boy, how long ago now since I
Probably
painted
like
this first
6 months.
Yeah.
No, longer than that.
Longer.
Because we did it in June.
Jeez Louise.
MBCE 47 initially, like, they asked if you were using a wet palette. I told him that you were, and he said, I tend to use a dry palette, which means I waste a lot of paint. That is one nice thing.
Yeah, especially when you're painting a lot of pieces, your little blobs will dry up on you faster. But today I was even using a dry palette too. It's just depends on what you're painting. If you're doing a lot of dry brushing, I'll stick to a dry palette. But you know, when we're doing a lot of thin layers of base coating and stuff, I just throw them out here because, especially when we start to do the fire, you can have some fun going back and forth, messing with like the redness and the oranges, the orange colors in the flames, and kind of being a little more painterly with it. So that's fun to go back and just have your wet paints and sort of, you know, layer them and wet blend them and stuff. But all right, we're ready for the bronze. We got it right here.
Do you use a commercial white palette, or do you just have like a homemade?
This one is a commercial one, but super easy to make one with just Tupperware. I also have a little sandwich Tupperware that's like just this high. Just throw a paper towel in there, fill it up with water, and then baking the parchment paper. Not like the wax stuff, because that will prevent the moisture from getting to your paint, but just the regular baking paper, untreated, on top of that. Cheap and easy, and works exactly the same, if not better sometimes, honestly, just because the seal is really good on those.
Yeah.
Wow, there's a lot of really fun emotes on here. Somebody was asking about the stream schedule. We do have it on our Discord. We also, I can just verbally say it, but tomorrow we're going to be starting our stream at 4:30, and then on Thursday, what a good question. We start a stream at 7.
7?
At 7.
Okay.
And that's going to be our, that is actually, so tomorrow's stream is going to be the Caverns build. And then our stream on Thursday is actually going to be kind of an interview with Eli. He's going to be walking you through sculpting. I'm very excited to see it, but we kind of wanted to show, now that we're showing paint, we want to show some of that behind the scenes too with the sculpting. And what's cool, I guess we're kind of doing it backwards where we're going painting, sculpting, but then next week, I believe it's been decided on a Wednesday now, but Nate's going to actually be doing showing how mock-ups work.
Oh,
so,
that'll be sweet.
Yeah, show like the entire process.
Yeah.
And I think there's a plan maybe for that one to then go have Nina sort of take the mock and make a sculpt, and then they'll take the sculpt.
Oh,
Wow.
cool.
Get
Yeah,
that
they-
painted, sort of go through the whole process.
You guys get the whole tour.
Wow.
Yeah, the
From
general
that.
plan is we're going to take one of the pieces from the upcoming Kickstarter and show the entire process of making that piece over a couple of streams.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, times are Eastern Standard Time. Or wait, is
Yeah.
it standard?
It's Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern
But
Standard Time.
is it after daylight savings time? Or is it Eastern Daylight Time?
Daylight
Oh.
is this
Sunday.
weekend.
It's a Sunday.
It's 7
It's Hamster's
p.m.
birthday.
for New
Oh.
York.
Oh! It's about to be Eastern Daylight Time. So it's actually, for this week it's EST. Next week it's EDT.
Why can't we just abolish like, daylight savings?
Yeah, it's a pretty silly thing.
Wasn't it for farmers or something like that?
They didn't want to trick the cows. Except there's like one state that doesn't do it anymore. I don't know.
All right.
A lot of farmers that don't do it actually because it messes with the milking schedule and stuff. It's like farmers hate it.
Huh.
Was it for the
It
farmers?
wasn't the farmers didn't invent it. It was some
It was like
person
Alexander Hamilton or something like that.
I remember watching a stand-up routine where they were saying there's one like state in the Midwest that doesn't have it because they said it would trick the cows.
Graded Table Studio says, I imagine these other voices are just in the streamer's head since I only see one person. And he is correct, or she. They are correct.
Yes.
This is all Hamster's
They're
nutty
all-
imagination.
All my imaginary friends.
Tip the cows.
Now we have Chris and
Was it Ben Franklin?
The crate saying Ben Franklin did it to us.
He did it to him.
Yeah, we have Chris and Mace running the stream and our sculptor Eli off camera. Just my face, sorry. The worst of the bunch, probably.
It was actually for the war and not for farming.
For the
It
war?
was for the war.
Yeah. It was invented by George Hudson.
Huh.
It was invented for the war, because minimizing artificial lights could be spotted by bombers and such.
Oh.
Huh.
All right, I want to point this out because it blew my mind when I learned this. But you want to use that side of the brush technique again when you get your bronze on there. Just hit it with silver on the very upper edges, even though it's bronze, and that will make it look even more metallic and more brilliant. But if you leave the majority of it the bronze color and just hit the top parts, it's not going to appear too silver. It'll still appear like bronze, but just with a highlight. Yeah, so like I said, that's it, except for now we're going to get to the fun flame parts, but we're like,
Wow.
90% there already. So this is a pretty simple paint, but the effect is really cool. Yeah, so now we're going to go to the flames. I'm going to actually keep these LEDs on now as a guide because we're painting to make sure that we can see them, right? So you can even just paint right on the model with the lights on. I started picking out a little bit here. See, initially this was, not cast in yellow, so I had to do this with opaque paints. But now we have the casting color on our side, and we want to make sure that we preserve the parts that have light in them. So I just have a basic Picorni lava orange, lava yellow, and regal red. And I do also just have a slightly warmer red. The regal red is a little on the purple side, kind of a cool bias, and so you can easily just mix these up and warm it up yourself, but I had a pre-mixed one, so I just slapped it on the palette also. So I'm going to actually just start in the middle at the orange, just because we can always go slightly darker, slightly lighter, but we're just going to kind of start tracing our path here in the middle ground a little bit. So again, this sculpt is awesome because it's going to help you out as a painter. The flames, the texture is very, very deep. You can use the side of the brush again just to hit the topmost parts and leave some of that yellow behind. Now again, especially on this Dwarvenite, you're going to need a couple passes, so don't, we don't have a super thick layer on there right now, but just leave it to dry and don't touch it again till it is, or you'll be sorry.
Cossacks Cam wants to know, how would you test it with lights on for plug-in stuff like torches? I believe he means like English torches, like flashlight.
How would you what?
How do you test it with lights on for plug-in stuff like torches? Would you paint and then plug it in to check periodically, or paint it plug into a wall or pillar piece? I think he's talking about just like the lava in general.
For the plug-in? Oh, for like the light
For when you're
panels and stuff?
painting,
No,
yeah.
there's the little torch, maybe the little torch plug-in torches that plug into sockets on our walls.
Right, yeah. So
Oh, plug-in stuff like,
yeah. So
that makes sense.
So that would definitely work. You definitely just want to have your dungeon wall piece that plugs it out. Just keep it on my desk. And what you could even do is plug it in and take some photos of it on your phone. Just have that with you to reference. or just have the piece right there and, like you said already, pick it a little bit with some paint, plug it in, make sure. So that's when you'd want to be conservative at first. Pick out some areas, plug it in, make sure you're not covering too much. You're starting to get a greater sense of the whole thing as you add more paint, and just slowly add until you have the effect that you want. But you can also just plug it in, illuminate it, take a couple photos too, and that would work as well. For the lava floors, any kind of floor pieces that you want to light up, I've also just taken my phone flashlight and have it on and be painting the piece over it. Don't do that for too long though, because I have ended up staring into my light for so long and I looked up and I was blind. But that can also help.
And there was a point made by Nina that torch flames should only be painted with transparent paints, and more. Finley Shards wants to know if that means use more ink washes on them.
Ink washes definitely work. You're gonna get a few more layers to get opacity in the areas where you want it. But in general, just work thin. Just have a wet brush. A wet palette helps. Don't use your paint straight out of the bottle. Use them slightly thinner. And that just means leaving more moisture on your brush and pulling a little bit out from your blob, and you'll see it get runnier. But at least on this guy, we're going to have a little bit of like almost full opacity on the tips. So at that point, don't be afraid to... What's going to help you is going in the direction that it's going to be opaque. So going toward the top of the flames. Because you'll leave a little bit of extra paint where your brush comes off. So if you go in that if you were to go this way, you would leave extra paint toward the bottom, and it would start to get opaque over the whole thing. But here we can use some of these thin layers to our advantage and just cover a smaller area on the next layer and let that transparency work for us. So you can see this is just pulling the paint right off the brush for me using the side. Use the angle that you're holding it to work for you to just catch those edges.
Do they have any of... So you have a mini holder for bases, and you're using a cup right now. Do they have larger sizes of those?
The holders?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those were made by a certain company, like, for their base sizes. Honestly, this thing works just as well. I've used it on cans. I've used it on glass jars. Just anything that is easier to grip. Anything that you're not pinching. Like, when you're holding something by the base and you're pinching it, that's when you're going to start to get cramped. So anything that you can stick it on there where it's going to be stable, and it's kind of just a loose grip. Where's my hand cam? It's just kind of a loose grip as opposed to a pinch. Anything that allows you to do that is going to help you. So you don't need the fancy thing, really. I mean, some of them will sell you on certain functions, and a lot of them are cool and they are comfortable, but experiment with what you want, how you like to hold the stuff you're painting. Try different stuff, because it's all personal preference and they all work well, and it's just a matter of what works best for you.
I like the way that this paint is laying down on the mohawk.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it already looks cool just because it's cast in yellow and you added yellow to orange, and it's like, it already looks sweet. So once we start getting some reds in there and we start painting near the LEDs, it's going to be awesome. And it's okay to get a little bit of paint on the LED areas, because like Nina said, when you work thin and you work in transparent layers, it's still going to shine through the paint. You just want to be conservative and work in multiple layers so you don't cover it up too much.
Nina also says that in a few years you're going to get a bionic wrist upgrade.
You'll just have a model holder on there and it will read your mental impulses to adjust.
And you won't shake.
And you won't shake. It'll just anchor. You're like, you can just set it to lock, and it won't move.
People are still
at all.
talking about daylight savings time too. That's a hot topic.
Hot topic. Yeah.
A hot topic. We need a new stream card that just has a hot topic animation. Nina says KSA will be bionic upgrades for the whole team. I'm ready for that. Make me half robot, half woman.
People have been asking for us to do sci-fi.
There you go.
Oh.
We make the team sci-fi. Or just sci. We're still real, I promise.
I'll be the Phi. I put the Phi in sci-fi.
Lo-fi sci-fi.
More like Phi, like Shakespearean swear.
Oh, a Phi!
Yeah.
Lo-fi upon thee.
That's when you're just slightly disgruntled.
You just give people, you're just like cursing them with like an eternal loop of just really chill beats.
What about Wi-Fi upon thee?
Hey!
Hey.
5G!
Oh, your fans here. Tay Summerford.
Hey, Tay, how are
He
ya?
says, "Hey, hamster. Hey, buddy."
How are ya?
So what would you bionically have upgraded besides your wrists?
Besides my wrist?
Would you have Go-Go Gadget paintbrushes through your fingertips?
Absolutely.
Yeah, duh.
But they would have to operate like Inspector Gadget, where I have to say, like, Go Gadget paintbrush!
I don't think you can yank his saying, though. Like, it would be awesome.
Would I have to come up with my own?
Yeah, it'd be like, ho hamster.
Brush away!
The paint strike. Hi-ya!
Hi-ya! Paint strike! Well, so... Are you sold yet on the
I've been
the
sold
title?
since you... So the title is... We actually put the short one up.
I asked her to, like... I asked her about a title, and I was, like, trying to, like... make it, like... further comments on it to explain it, which means it's already a great idea, right?
He said, yeah,
it.
right? If
And
you
then you're
have
like,
to explain
that's the title, but the entire thing that you just said is the title.
Right. He said, and I quote, so this is the title. Warhamster paint strike, period. Like a paint attack, period. Power Rangers style, like paint strike, hi-ya!
Paint strike, hi-ya!
And then we had a lot of chat about how that's the entire title, and then adding nunchucks and, you know.
Paint strike.
And my mother reading the audiobook version. This was also your
Oh,
suggestion.
Yeah, I'll write it because I'm the writer.
Right.
But it's it's not autobiographical, but I feel like it would be. Like, I feel like I get you, you know?
Right.
Might as well be.
You get my voice.
Yeah, I sound a lot like you, actually. You should hear
You
me
get
at
my
karaoke.
literal voice. What now?
I said you should hear me at karaoke.
Ooh, I
Fun
have
fact,
heard you.
everybody on the stream, Hamster actually went to college. I know that's surprising, but the more surprising part is Hamster went to college. He went to school to be in theater and like musical theater. So he sings like a Disney prince. And I'm going to steal his voice like Ursula.
They couldn't teach me how to dance, though.
I've seen you.
Try as
I've
they
seen
might.
you twirl. You're going to twirl someday on stream. Wow, he should really sing to prove it. I agree.
Was that Nate?
No, it wasn't.
Oh.
Everybody says they don't believe you. Do Freebird.
We'll have to do a sweet Roki stream.
Yeah. We'll do a fundraiser.
A fun?
We'll
Yeah, there
find
you go. A charity stream.
for like people who have had to hear us karaoke. And then you'll be the prize for like, I don't know, the solution for the problem.
The solution? I am the solution.
Yep. Ooh, Finley says sci-fi might not get quite the same number of buy-ins as fantasy stuff, so maybe go for a hybrid where there are new sci-fi things, but the majority could fit into a Firefly-esque steampunk-ish fantasy.
I am
That's a
down
good
for
idea.
Firefly style.
I have not seen Firefly.
What?
But I need to.
You got any
That's
brown
good.
coats in chat?
I don't know what that means.
That's Firefly fans, basically.
That's why I don't mean. MN Frostbite says he has pipes and his turns are on point.
My turns? Yeah.
And your points are on turn.
I can definitely point my toes, most technically.
Maybe you should sing.
One day.
Go ahead.
No,
Let's hear some Evanescence.
Hey, look, we're a terrain company, not a singing company, okay?
All right, whatever.
No, a charity stream.
Oh my god, Selena. Do.
Selena just walked in
Selena's
singing
going
too.
to karaoke tonight. She just walked in singing Evanescence. Ooh.
Remember, I did sing at the Christmas party. There's that. That exists
That
in the
was
video,
great.
actually.
Okay, yeah. If we get this stream up to 100 viewers, I will leak Hamster singing Santa Baby.
Oh my god.
They did not. Or rather, I forgot to check.
Alright, I think we're gonna start moving on to red. I'm basically just kind of touching away, letting the thin layers dry. But we're gonna put more on, but we want to leave it transparent. So even if you don't have, it looks like it's not full opacity, that's good. Because like Nina has said, and like we've been saying, you want the light to shine through, and you want to leave the layers transparent, and you want to be conservative on this part, because it's hard to uncover it when you cover it up. So now I'm going to my red. I'm going to use my warmer red here. Thin it down just with some water. My wet palette. And covering an even smaller area on some of the stuff that we've done. Just on the tips.
Are you going to use... I guess we'll get to that, but I was going to ask, are you going to use the same paint and technique for the base?
So I will likely not paint the base. Probably have Aaron paint the base for the master, which is what we did in the initial prototypes.
Okay.
Because I actually haven't painted a single piece of lava terrain. Like I said, I painted things like the Howling Devil, the Dread Portal, the Hellgate, and all of that. Did we released the paint guide for lava though, right?
I think so.
So
I'm pretty sure we did painting videos for it.
Yeah.
So
I like...
otherwise, I'll just watch that, just like all of you can on our YouTube channel, and reference it the same way and paint the space. But for today, we're just going to do the Cerberus on top. But this will be painted in the same scheme as the other lava pieces before it's sent to the factory.
Ooh. Okay.
What's up?
They want us to do Twitch things.
I've never heard of this.
It's a... Just look up clips of it after the stream. It's wild.
I'm going to go ahead and just do that. I'm going to take off, guys. I have to run my own stream at home.
Okay.
It's been real.
All right.
They let you do duets, too. With other streamers.
Selena's gasping in the background out of excitement.
Hamster brings a good point to the table. In the event that we mess up a piece, can you strip Dwarvenite like a plastic or resin mini?
If I had to guess, I haven't stripped Dwarvenite before, but I imagine for the most part you could, just because you typically use a gentle cleaner for that, like Simple Green or something, right? Dwarvenite is pretty durable, so like I was saying before, I was using rubbing alcohol earlier on this, but that is going to like destroy any paint that it touches. So it's not for a selective area. That's for like if you want to rub off a big area. But I haven't experimented a lot with stripping off Dwarvenite, but I imagine stuff that would work on plastic and resin is typically pretty gentle, so you could very easily test it and you'd probably be successful. If you got to be a little more aggressive, throw some alcohol in the mix.
Nina says we've done it.
They've done it?
Yeah.
Hamster's just too good. He doesn't make mistakes. He needs to
Yeah, right. No, I say, get me another copy. I'm screw this one up. Like the Sorrow Nest, I had a bunch of them. Painted each petal differently and then just painted over it.
I'm so excited for that.
Sorry, Nest?
Mm-hmm.
What was that, Mies?
I'm excited for that piece.
Oh,
I don't know how much we can actually say on the stream.
Well, that one's been revealed.
We showed
Right.
the Sorrow Nest quite a bit.
Yeah,
Correct.
Alright, so I have some color differences here. And this is the part where it starts to get tricky, at least for me, because I'm like, alright, so I can either risk it further and get more color on these fancy parts I don't want to screw up, or I can just call it good and it looks great. But really, we can do more. So we gotta paint bravely, and we're gonna go back to our orange and cover even more areas and get closer to the base of the flame. Even though it may cover it up and it's irreversible. No. But just get a little more orange in there because we don't want to look like it's an unpainted piece. We want to make sure we hit each part of the sculpt and make sure that those details are defined. So just the top of these edges here. Again, it's going to take a couple layers, especially with orange. Just generally has problems with opacity, at least in my experience. But just keep hitting these areas near the base of the flame. Just don't get into the deepest parts because that's where it's going to be hottest and most yellowy.
Is there an LED that illuminates the back?
There's not currently an LED back here. It's mostly for the face. But it's brightening this flame where its brain is, where it's hottest.
Denth28 wants to see the workstation set up, but we can't now because beans. But
Yeah,
we
there's some
do have
reviews.
a video where we do a tour of the office.
Oh, that's
in our
right. That's a
first
cool
stream.
video.
A lot of it is blurred out, but
Well,
I don't know.
yeah.
Maybe once we have less beans, we could find a way to do another tour that's not so restricted.
And what we use when we paint on the stream, it's its own setup. It's different for just where I'm working, so I don't have like all my stuff set up and organized, which is mostly just a random pile right now of stuff. But it's not like my work desk. This is just I have pulled aside what paints I'm going to use, have my palette and stuff really neat and clean. So it's kind of its own thing.
Oh, we are, like, wasn't it also Norse Foundry? Like, shout out to them for all the minis, right?
Oh yeah, we have
a huge pile of minis by Hamster's desk. Steam Forged.
But Norse Foundry also.
And then Norse Foundry just gave us the other ones, right?
Yeah.
And they're the ones that have a Kickstarter right now.
Yep.
All right. And I believe it ends March 29th?
Sounds right.
Somewhere around there. Modular resin minis from Norse Foundry.
Those are the ones that are by my desk. Those are crazy. It's very cool. They have so many different swappable options. Like, I'm excited to... I'm going to not steal, but I'm going to definitely, like, call dibs on painting some of them.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we have so many.
Kaiju9515 wants to know if he just has to be active in the chat for the giveaway, but we're actually going to be doing that at the end, and you don't have to be active currently, but at the end we're going to have a keyword that you have to type, and then that's how we're going to announce the winner.
Yeah, so just listen in for when they decide the keyword, and when you type that, that will enter your name into the virtual drawing, basically.
I would say think about it, because I'm going to let you pick the keyword.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh. Alright, so this part's kind of cool because we painted orange and red on here, and as you get more layers of orange, they'll kind of blend together nicely. Like orange over red kind of makes it, I don't know, they just transition nicely together and they start to look cool. Just going over areas I've already painted, just increasing the effect of the paint. And the main part of the orange and the red is to hit the upper areas of the texture and let that casting color work for you in the depths of the flame. This part is always a challenge since the first prototype. There's this little pocket where the heads converge where there's a little bit of texture. You don't want just a big blob of yellowness. So you gotta get in there a little bit and pick out a little something down there. Going back to red. Making sure I get the most amount of variance. Just switching it up, hitting just the highest parts.
Do you do commission painting on the side, Hamster?
I haven't done a lot of commissions. I painted some things for friends. But I've talked to a few people that, have board games that they want to paint and everything. But especially as we're ramping up for Kickstarters here at Dwarven Forge, it takes a lot to prepare. So, not currently. Not currently.
Sorry. Keep your
How
finger
you
on
doing?
that cough button. I've been worse. I've heard that Midwestern swearing is basically saying, well, I'm here, aren't I? When somebody's like, how you doing today?
That sounds right. That checks out. Well, I'm here, aren't I?
Have you ever said that?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I have.
Yeah, there's... I can't even think of one because it's just so in my vernacular where sometimes they'll say things and people laugh and I'm like, what? Like something just like very mundane like that.
Like what are some of the... what are classical Midwest
My
sayings?
dad uses genuinely Jiminy Crickets. He says Jiminy Crickets like in a moment of actual genuine frustration.
I hear a lot of For the Love of Pete.
I haven't heard that one.
Oh man.
Oh, for the love of Pete.
Yeah, it's that's a good one.
So here, when you work thinly, we've built up a lot of areas of color where it looks pretty opaque, but still in the lower parts of this layering, it's still pretty transparent, but it still looks like it's painted, right?
Merciful Zeus, that's fun. As a swear, I'm not just yelling things.
Merciful Zeus.
It's fine. Oh, sorry. Oop, it's very
Oh yeah.
Midwestern.
Oh. Yep. Oh. Yep. Oh. I say that one a lot.
Oh, I do too.
Yes. Yeah. I. Oh man. You want me to sneak past you?
For Pete's wake.
For Pete's wake.
Poor Pete.
Yeah, but what's going on with
What
Pete,
happened to
man?
him?
Rip
Yeah.
Pete. Or like just Jiminy too.
Just Jiminy. Exactly.
Cheese and Crow.
Cheese and Crow. Yep, that's a good one.
There you go.
Had a teacher that would say horse feathers, said Chris. In chat.
Horse feathers?
Yeah. What's that? I've never heard horse feathers. Great googly moogly. I've been saying. I'm so sorry.
Great
I can't
googly
like-
moogly.
Yeah, I've been saying that a lot recently. It's been reintroduced into my vocabulary. Well, when I spend a week alone, like locked in my private hell, I definitely got very weird with my vocabulary. So great googly moogly is making a comeback. I'm calling it now.
All right. You heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, he would say a lot of. He just had different words for every swear.
Horse feathers.
Yeah, he'd say like that's just a sack of horse feathers. Was like one of them.
Ooh. Kazakh's Cam says my band director in high school yelled, "God bless America!" and then threw his binder into a goalie.
I saw this great video of this guy like getting really mad at a video game, and he goes, "God freaking! I hope your family has a really nice Christmas."
Oh, you showed that to me. You were dying.
I was laughing. Just was not expecting that. All right, so I'm gonna try out this Regal Red for Corny, which is a little cooler, but I think it's gonna look neat just at the tips of this effect that we've hashed out here. Yeah, I like that.
Earlier Remember, Selena asked what your favorite mini from Hellscape was.
Howling Devil for sure. Howling Devil, the big purple, just all the muscles.
Well,
really.
That one had 2 different paint schemes, right?
It had a couple. I mean, a lot of pieces have a couple different iterations through the development process. So yeah, that one had a couple different drafts. But of course, we settled on purple, right?
I remember you bringing the 2. Remember you bringing like one that was purple and one that was more red focused, I think?
Yeah, there was like
and
a red
like
one.
putting them side by side.
Yeah.
And Nate just like pointing at the purple and just like, yeah, no, that one.
Yeah. Well, you know, when you're doing something with devil in it, you have to make one of them red, right? Like, there has to be the red version, the classic red devil.
I miss the Fire Myrmidon.
Oh, the Fire Elemental Myrmidon, yes. I do love that one. That one might...
I hope it comes back.
I was thinking of, you know, favorite out of ones that were released. That one might be my favorite ever. This is really cool. Just a dynamic, like, sculpt. He's, like, mid-swing with a sword. And yeah, very cool.
Bastard of Buffalo says, I hate washing hot colors out of my brush, especially red.
Yeah.
Do they just, like, dye it easily and they don't want to go anywhere?
Yeah, paint will start kind of drying up in your brush, and they easily contaminate each other, like these oranges and reds and stuff, but that's why sometimes, I don't have it here, but sometimes I'll just have a second cup of water that has a little bit of soap in it. That helps. Piece of sponge that I have in here, we'll pull it off gently, running it through there instead of just the smooth side of the glass or mug or whatever.
Does the Lemur pit count as terrain or a mini?
Interesting. Not sure.
Kind of that fine hybrid that Dwarven Forge does so well, right?
Might depend if you give it the ability to creep out of the pit and chase people around.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because it takes up like a floor tile and isn't really on a base, but it's a creature. So
Yeah.
Like, is it a trap or is it a mini? I don't know.
It's a trap that's also a mini that's also terrain.
There you go. It is all things.
The Swiss Army knife of
Hands.
pieces.
Oh.
Swiss Army knife of hands.
It's got a lot of them. You gotta hand it to them. There we go. It finally works.
Oh, there's the Animal Crossing emote again.
Yeah. Kha'Zix Cam also said, I really enjoy painting fire. Such a nice departure from the dark to light paint scheme, and it really pops on a table.
Yeah, it pops very, very well. Especially with these LEDs in here. Oh, man. Like, if you were to slap this down in front of your adventuring party, like, jaws would drop. When you do. Yeah, I really like painting. I like painting fire a lot too. That's why I like this is just so fun to pick at and go back and forth. Like we've spent the majority of the time here doing this, just like back and forth with orange and red.
Well, I'm sure also painting on this, I don't even know what, like this type of material color is also kind of fun to switch it up.
It's really fun because you see your progress quickly because yellow is a color that you want in there already. So when you slap down one layer of paint on the detail, it already looks sweet, and you just like are just going to even cooler.
Is a odd colored, like an actual colored base instead of just gray, black, or white, is that common?
An odd color base?
Like this is yellow.
Yeah.
Is there like a lot of bases that are like, oh, we're doing green? Like
in the casting, or just when?
Yeah, the casting.
I mean, I've rarely seen it. It's mostly just gray plastic. Which is why this is such a cool idea, a cool part of the design, because it's doing a lot of legwork for you. Yeah, we're getting pretty close. We got to make sure we do these mouths, which is definitely a place you want to be conservative too, because that's the main part that's glowing in here. But there is some cool flame tongue texture. So, again, start at the mid-tone, so it's not a big, exclamation point right off the bat. Just go to 50%, use the side of the brush, and let the texture work for you. Let it take the paint right off. Even back in here where the light is brightest. You're not going to see it much at first. Just let it dry. And give it another layer. Some cool mouth ridges up here. Another mouth here.
Sci-fi sets using the DF light panels.
Oh.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
That could actually be how you set it apart. Yeah, it's just like run like translucent lines through it that are like, oh, these are like the. Oh, that'd be cool.
It makes me think of 2001: Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
Do you know what scene I'm talking about?
Tron.
Just
Yeah,
Oh,
like a
yeah,
Tron
Tron.
effect.
It's like such
Yeah.
a huge sci-fi thing. Yeah, just have
Cyberpunk kind of thing.
have like a glowing line running through the terrain and stuff.
Well, I think orange is the color of the future.
Yeah.
Mostly because sci-fi, like, they always use white, orange, and, like, very clean, sleek lines, but it seems like orange is the future color.
They just use orange.
Yeah, lots of sci-fi movies use orange, like spacesuits, glasses, spaceships. Stop me when I've said too many, if I'm rambling.
In Star Wars, the rebel pilots use orange jumpsuits.
Orange.
That's true.
It's symbolic of the future.
Probably find most of the other colors in Star Wars somewhere too.
The entire planet of Tatooine, orange. Go ahead, fight me about this. All of Mars.
I always picture like a
All
Mars
of Mars.
Red.
I always
Yeah.
identify it with the neon blue, but I'm not sure how much of that is just because of Tron.
I've never seen Tron.
That's okay.
That's not surprising.
It's a fun time.
I've done this one a little bit here. Especially on these mouths that are a little more closed. Not a lot of people are going to see this detail, but there's some cool sculpted detail in there. So just hit it with some colors so at a glance you see a little bit of differentiation. It's hard to reach in there, so you don't need to go crazy with it, but just make sure you let that texture lift a little paint off your brush just so you can kind of see it. And it's not just a blob of yellow.
Are you playing Starfinder this Friday?
I am, yeah.
Alright.
I'm excited for that.
I am too. We have a game going in the office.
With like that hell portal from Hellscape. I know I'm thinking about like how we would do like a Stargate or something.
Yeah,
In,
the fun sculpt.
You could keep the same green.
The same general idea, yeah, but just like having like a really sleek, like smooth build to it.
Yeah, you could even use the same energy vortex in the middle of it.
That's what, yeah.
Which I sculpted.
Oh, Eli, you sculpted the energy vortex? I hear you also sculpted
Whoops.
the Myrmidon.
The Myrmidon, yes. The poor Myrmidon, which is still languishing in obscurity until we revive him for some future project.
I love that.
We just need a reason.
Didn't make the stretch goal.
Oh.
Can we just tack him onto anything else we do?
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
It was such a cool.
I'm definitely a favor.
It was such a cool mini.
Yeah.
I also heard, Eli, that you sculpted most of the Griffin Tamer studio things. Most of them?
Kind of all of them, because Griffin
All of
Tamer
them.
Studio is me. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a lie. That's a bold-faced lie.
What?
Yeah, you would know it.
Yeah.
I was there from creation.
Right, obviously.
Hello, Macy Griffin. It's my studio.
Oh.
Yeah, you're there. That's a solid legal argument.
Yeah. My name is on it.
And I am Griffin Tamer, so what is that?
Ooh, yeah.
It means you got your work cut out for you.
It does. Clear.
Do
It's
you
more of like coming to a polite agreement with a griffin. You don't really like.
There's no
It doesn't
taming them.
Eat you, and you provide it with some.
eat you yet?
Yeah.
Eli should do a reprint of Entrances, says MBCE 47.
Entrances?
Griffin Tamer Entrances.
Oh.
Yeah. I get that often. But wasn't so busy here at the forge, but I'm making cool stuff here too, which you're all getting. So
there you go.
But yeah.
I'm just cleaning up this jawline. As you get, add more elements, you kind of start to see it taking shape, so you know where you miss. So this is where it's fine to be it's smart to be conservative at first, because you can just go back and add. I'm just tracing out the teeth in the jaws here, because you do want to see that shape picked out on the inside, right?
That makes looking real good.
Clear. Yeah, isn't that
got a lot
cool
of texture
already?
to it.
Yeah.
Like a Cheeto.
Gucci, man.
Yeah.
It does look like a flaming hot mane.
Can we do a partnership with Cheetos?
There
Nope.
you go.
Just
No, I can't. But you may be interested to hear in a company I started today.
Oh yeah.
No, we're not talking about Cranch.
Okay.
I did not hear about this.
Oh, wow.
Warhamster,
It's
don't.
everything you want. It's Midwestern to a T. Crunchy ranch. What's not to love?
What?
Putting crunch in a dipping sauce.
Cranch.
Honestly, I am not.
It's like
I could get into that, I think, actually.
I know you could. I'm looking at you and I'm like, that's a man who knows cranch. That's a man who values good ranch. Crunchy ranch.
Cranch just sounds bad.
Sounds like it would make you crotchety.
It feels bad in your mouth.
I mean, also, if you eat too much Taco Bell and drink too much PBR, you're gonna get gout. But
What?
Wait.
just like, don't do that. Yeah, because it's all like all the meat and like yeast and beer will give you gout.
Yeah, gout is excess protein.
Yeah, gout of beer.
You get gout from too much protein?
Yeah.
Get gout.
Wait, so do
Get-
like
get-
bodybuilders have an issue with gout?
I don't
Wow,
know.
crunchy gout?
There you go.
Do bodybuilders have an
Gross.
issue with gout, like because of the protein thing? Is
Do
that like
not.
a thing?
Maybe they're metabolizing enough of it. It was like all the upper class folks in
Right.
Europe in
It's the
previous
king's
eras who ate like
disease.
90%, rich feasts of wild game that they, that kind of thing, and like one vegetable every 6 months,
Yeah, I don't know anything about gout. I thought that was like.
Well, you can be a broke man today and get gout. It is not for the kings anymore. You can have Taco Bell and your PBR and get gout.
Everybody's at risk.
Look at how far our species has come. Now even the poor can get gout.
Gout epidemic is sweeping the nation.
Gout for everyone. Buffalo is blue cheese country.
See, I personally, not a huge blue cheese gal as far as, like, I like it with wings.
I love blue cheese with the right thing, yeah.
But as a sauce, I'm just kind of like, who do you know here? Okay, nobody.
What did you say?
Who do
She
you
was,
know
she was
here?
trying to be rude to blue cheese.
I was
Okay.
fraternizing.
Cannot
with the
support that.
You like blue cheese?
Yes.
I really like blue cheese on like certain burgers and
Burgers, yes.
stuff. Yeah. It like
Yeah,
I couldn't do blue cheese on its own, but like you put it with the right stuff.
but
and
in a
it's fantastic.
salad,
Yeah, in a
Like
salad.
the right salad.
anti-blue cheese salad.
You gotta balance it with the right flavors.
No.
Like it's such a strong flavor, it's gotta be combined with the right stuff. But like
Yeah,
it's
but
it's fantastic when it is.
Here's the thing, no.
Yeah, like pizza crusts work because like pizza crusts are like bland enough that it cuts like how strong it is.
Sure.
That makes sense.
And like the garlic would work well with blue cheese, but no.
You order pizza.
I just ate a burrito.
That's
Oh,
fine. I
man.
didn't.
All right, you can order pizza.
Allergic to mold, can't eat blue cheese.
Oh. Can you eat any cheese? Is there cheese you can eat if you're allergic to mold?
Probably like Kraft singles because that's hardly cheese.
Kraft
Do you
Sing-
play Animal Crossing, Hamster?
I've actually never played
Okay, somebody's
Well-
using the Brewster from the game in chat a lot. What were
I
you saying?
love it.
I might actually
I'll-
recognize it though from the market.
I was telling Hamster, well, he's going to, because we're going to start an Office Island when New Horizons comes out.
Heck yeah!
I'm bringing my Switch in. We're going to, oh man.
Bring in the GameCube.
I mean,
game.
I've played things like Stardew Valley and that.
I
Is
need
it
to-
kind of similar?
Oh, Stardew Valley is so good. It's very similar.
It's,
Okay.
it's the same kind of like Zen feeling. They have
Yeah.
very different goals, but like, yeah.
Yeah, Stardew Valley is more like Harvest Moon. Animal Crossing's a little bit. It's just
very
It's nice.
excited. Yeah. I keep forgetting to bring in the GameCube game so we can use it on the GameCube here. But we're just over 2 weeks away from New Horizons, man. I'm so excited.
I don't have a Switch though. I do have a GameCube.
I do have a Switch, and I will bring it in, and we will.
And we'll play Jackbox TV and Animal
Can
Crossing.
we get the company to?
I would love to play Jackbox with you guys.
I know, right? Jackbox would be fun. Ooh, have you ever tried to paint with food?
Paint with food?
Yeah, for fun.
I can't say that I have.
Like never a nice ketchup palette or.
No, I haven't. How would that stay on the model?
It doesn't have to be on a model. I didn't say paint a model with food.
Okay, what are you painting with food?
decorated
I don't know,
cake
like
kind
your
of thing?
burger.
I feel like if you asked a model to let you.
That's
paint
just
the
topping.
That'd be like $50.
Yeah, they'd have to be a model who's pretty desperate for work, I think.
Or
All right.
desperate for food.
Or desperate for. You can keep the ketchup afterwards.
So we're pretty dang close here. All that's left, one thing I did that was kind of fun is because it's on the lava base, and especially in the black parts, there's some of the lava and glow kind of painted on to reflect off of the greasy black fur and all the metallic armor. So this is supposed to be reflected light coming from the base. So you can kind of be as conservative or aggressive as you want with this. Again, just working thinly. You can even place some of it, and I just rubbed it off my finger there even just to do a little stain, a little film. A little bit of a hard line, so if you just wet your brush and soften up that line from that stroke. On these plates, I typically do a little bit of this effect on the bottom too, and leave the other one bare. Because if you want it to look like it's reflecting, you need to have kind of an equal amount that's not reflected, right next to what is reflected to kind of sell the effect. Not like an equal area, but you put a point of reflection, and up here you say this is the actual material, and this is it being reflected, it reflecting that lava glow. So you need both parts to sell it. But I especially like it so it doesn't leave just your model black, because you want to pick out these details, right? So there's these wonderfully sculpted little muscles here. So just at the bottom ridge of each of those, again, this is an effect that is going to take a couple layers, and you might not even notice much of it at first, but as you add a little more, you'll start to see. So on all, just look at it, like you're shading a circle into a sphere, right? Just imagine the light source coming from the bottom, just hitting different parts of the detail to point your eye to the reflection. Wetting my brush, this is going on a little thick, so we're going to thin it out right there. Under the tail you could do a little bit.
Out of the 3 Cerberus heads, which one do you think is the smart one, the funny one, and the handsome one?
This guy's the funny one. He's laughing already. One of these has got to be the smart one. They're a little cool. This guy's cool. He's evaluating the scenario, right? He's just taking a peek. And this guy, well, he must be the handsome one. He has the finest tuft of flame on top of his head.
I mean, with them, you basically gotta imagine that they'll have the dynamic of the hyenas from Lion King.
Right.
Ooh, can't we get a Larry, Curly, and Moe situation when they're all in the funny one? Maybe.
Rest in peace, Shemp.
Rip.
Under the neck.
Does it train the Cerberus to be funny, or does it have to come naturally?
It's an interesting question.
It depends on which mini you get. They're gonna be different.
There's limited edition funny, sir.
Yeah. Some of them are funny, naturally. Some of them you gotta, write jokes for.
I don't know. I think with the Cerberus, they basically have to be naturally funny. I don't think you can teach a dog new bits.
Oh,
Stop.
Boo! No, I'm just kidding.
The 3 Stubers.
That was rough.
Nice.
Because dogs say bow wow. And rough also. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I just need like a day or two to sort through my feelings.
I was saying it to Hamster and Eli.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
Alright, that's fine.
Take your time.
Okay.
No.
Have your day.
Go ahead, take your day. I don't care. Take a week.
Watch me cry.
They can be a little heavier on these kind of spikes because I sort of painted that more. It's not the reflected light necessarily. It's the similar color, but well, I'm using the same color, but it's just more of like a detail element. Like they're actually red. They're not just reflecting the light.
Are you going to do any of that to the tail?
I do add some of the reflected light. I didn't add any like actual red elements. Like if you were looking at the tail, there'd be redness to it, but you could. You know, I'm adding it mostly on the bottom here.
Oh, I see it.
Make that gradient.
Yeah.
It's actually showing up on stream too.
Nice. Kind of do this as much as or as little as you like here. And without this effect, I mean, it'd be good to play too. Like you just hit the armor, hit the, you know, you do the black body, hit the armor, hit the flame quick, turn on the light, the LEDs. You know, it's good to play. But I do like this just because we have the lava base to kind of add this and sculpt out the muscles and the sculpt a little more.
Oh, and so Dwarven Forge did a stream game where you were in.
Oh yeah.
Was there a Cerberus in that?
Yeah.
There was. It was
Yeah.
it was the big final boss.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that and Momo.
What's it like meeting your maker?
Ooh.
Okay.
That's what it's like.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's what I said. I drew my sword and I heard a beast coming.
You actually died, right?
I think I died.
I think you and
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I was left behind.
Oh.
In hell.
Yeah,
you were bleeding out, and everybody just jumped through the portal without you.
Wow.
I
You're very
would've-
good at falling on your sword, though.
I would have done the same.
I can't remember if anybody else died.
I know somebody else was stuck in hell, right?
I think it was me and one other person, yeah.
It was
I
either Toby
think
or
it was-
Selena, I think.
I think it was me and Selena.
I think it was Selena too.
Yeah. That was fun. 'Cause remember the gag was that at the very beginning, you had something taken from you, but it was all something tied into your character.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's right. The Howling Devil stole something from you. So, like, that one of the core abilities of your class was actually taken from you.
I think Toby was the rogue, right?
Yeah, I think
And
it
I
was.
think
yeah,
I
yeah.
think he took the rogue's sense of balance.
Oh, yeah.
And like the barbarian
It's
couldn't
like-
rage. Or
Yeah, something like that.
I think he made you like fall in love with everything.
Of the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dentist
Or maybe-
cough drops.
I don't think it was like that you couldn't do it. It wasn't like don't play your class, but it was like your buff will also give you a penalty kind of thing. Like,
Yeah, I think it was basically that you get infatuated with things instead of angry.
well, I think I just took it to that extreme of like, oh, I can't rage. I guess that means I only love.
I'm sure what else happened. Like what did Nina and Selena lose?
I'm trying to remember.
Their religion.
Nice. I love that song.
That's a good song.
Yeah.
It was me in the corner.
Yeah, it was me in the spotlight.
Okay.
Well, technically it's the Cerberus.
I heard you laughing. Nice.
Nice.
So what's cool is once you get the hang of painting this reflected light here, you also can add it around the flame. So there's a different reflection that's not coming from the lava down here, but like on the back of the ears, you can add it where the main flame, the main of flames, is kind of reflecting off of the black fur. On the chain, even pretty much everywhere, because it's a bright hot flame.
Okay. So let's set up real quick.
And you can kind of cheat this a little bit too. Like, another one of its functions as a painting step is to make the details on the black parts read, so it doesn't look like a black blob. So I'm kind of just following the lines here as I kind of stipple and wash some of these parts. And that's kind of why you don't. I mean, it's hard to overdo it, but you know you don't want to do this on every single part. Because actually, on the first prototype, I ended up doing that because I liked the effects so much, and I was like, oh man, I could add it here and add it here, and then it kind of was a little too much. But
Okay. Let's see. Are you going to be doing the base on stream or no?
no, not the base. I think Aaron is going to be painting the base of that, or I will have to reference the painting guide because I haven't painted any
That makes sense. 'Cause
lava
the base
pieces.
The base is basically the terrain.
Yeah, and when we were given it at first, it was 2 pieces.
That's fair.
So I just painted this one.
So here's the thing. Would you play this this Cerberus as intelligent or not?
I think so. I think that'd be kind of interesting.
Like, would it be intelligent enough to actually like make plans and have motivations other than just
I mean,
wanting to destroy?
I think the idea of giving the 3 heads different personalities would be either like just the beast, the hell beast, right? Just like going out to bash whatever is in its way. But giving it 3 different personalities kind of maybe as a way to get past it without combat or something. Like maybe there's some riddle or something. I don't know. It'd be cool to give it 3 different personalities.
I think I'd make it as smart as like an ape or something, where it can definitely sort of plan ahead and you know, you can tell if you're doing certain things, but it's not brilliant, so you might be able to outwit it.
Right.
Intelligent enough to like have a conscience and a sentience, basically.
Yeah.
I can get behind that. I always find that more fun.
Yeah.
We have this idea. Tyler and I got this concept for doing like a gelatinous cube, but like it's become fused with a wizard that it absorbed at one point, and so it's a gelatinous cube that like has the intelligence of this wizard, and basically his body is just a cube now, and having it be like an NPC that they interact with.
That could be really fun, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it would catch everyone completely by surprise.
Yeah. And like it has like a little bony hand that it just like extends out of its cube form to like shake your hand when you make a deal and stuff. And it's just an intelligent gelatinous cube. I think it'd be really fun.
Well, isn't that, what is it called, the Ooblex? Just kind of like that in a way. It's like an ooze that absorbs personalities of people. Where is that? That's in Mordenkainen's, I think, Tome of Foes. It's one of the weird. It's one of the less known things, but it's sort of like that.
That sounds cool.
It's amorphous thing that absorbs personalities and then can kind of creates doppelgangers of people it's absorbed and sends them out. They're like attached to it by a really long tendril. So like you might be talking to this thing, and in the next room is this giant blob that's waiting to eat you, but the thing that's talking to you appears to be a.
What's it called? Oblex?
Oblex?
I've never heard of it, but
That
there's a
sounds
lot of.
Yeah, it's one of the more obscure ones.
It sounds like Nina's Dread game, kind of.
Like her what?
Dread game? Like when there was the doppelgangers.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that was cool. That was terrifying.
Yeah.
I am on Instagram says that they're watching this while they are writing an encounter.
They said that they literally saw it on Instagram and made an account just to watch this.
Oh, cool.
And, and they picked the perfect name for it. When what? Oh, should we? I guess we probably have a lot of people watching now who didn't see when we talked about the giveaway at the start.
Oh yeah. We might want to do that soon. We're getting kind of close to the end of this guy.
All right. Well, did you think of your keyword?
Oh.
Let's go ahead and show off the pieces while he thinks of the keyword.
Yeah.
Oh, the giveaway. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to.
I can do it. I can vin away. Sound.
What? Wait. What?
Basically, we're giving away some of the resin prototypes from the Hellscape Kickstarter that the Cerberus came from.
Oh, nice.
Oh, no, I can't lean it. Sorry, thanks.
Yeah.
So these aren't the finished Dwarvenite, but these are. Go ahead and just like pick up a few pieces at a time and just kind of show them.
Yeah.
It's basically a small room. It's like one of the little corner fills.
Yeah, that's hard to...
Yeah. A little lower. There we go. Yeah, just like that.
See how the light works through it too?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So just a little small room of the prototypes. So they won't have the magnets in the bottom, and they aren't made of dwarvenite the way that the finished stuff will be. But these are a lot of the prototypes that we made while we were figuring it out.
You know what's cool is this includes the transition into caverns. So it is a small little build, but you can kind of slap it right onto pieces you may already have, so it'll fit in your builds.
Very cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So it is only for U.S. people, just because of general giveaway rules on Twitch, from what I understand.
All right.
All right.
Keywords.
Let's say Hound, the Cerberus Warhound.
All right, everybody, you heard it here. First, comment Hound in order to enter. And if you don't win today, there's going to be a giveaway tomorrow. There's going to be a giveaway the day after that. We're probably going to give away for the rest of our life. At least mine.
All right.
Can't guarantee it. Don't hold me to it. Wow.
Oh, that's not okay. That was an accident. I wasn't trying to do that. Hang on. It rolled early.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it was before the things came in.
What happened?
It rolled early? Alright, hang on.
I
Let me
see
cancel
what
this real quick.
happened.
Yeah, it went early. I'm trying to figure out how to... Alright, here we go. Okay, it should be set up now. Starting it now. It's because I had to put the word in when he said it. But yeah.
Cool.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
capitalization does not matter. It is case insensitive. We'll run it for like 2 more minutes.
And you only need to type it once. Like typing it in multiple times doesn't do anything.
Yeah, you don't get more entries.
Yeah.
You said, well, there's a winner.
It was before like
You did it again.
That was me resetting it to like. It's because I had to. Yeah, it's a big thing.
Well, they think they won.
I'm sorry.
They said, "Wow."
I'm sorry. We'll roll it in like 2 minutes.
First time.
Yeah, it's because we had to like put it in tonight, but that's all we gotta usually decide the word ahead of time. I'm marking. No, I'm looking at it.
Typing multiple times is good for morale.
That's fair.
There you go. Yeah, I'm just kind of cleaning up the black around the jaws, just so it reads like the piece that it's sculpted instead of just random black paint.
It doesn't lower the chances either. It's just putting you on a list of eligible people.
Yeah, it just puts you on the list. The first time, also just puts you on the list.
Yeah. Boom. God, this looks really rad.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty much done. I can still kind of pick away at it, but this is pretty much
Did you
good
end up
to go.
making a decision on the... Well, I guess you didn't make a decision on the ears yet. You're going to do that later.
I think I'm going to leave them like this. So this is kind of the next step here is, we got this version from the factory. It has the LEDs in it. And now I'm picking away on the general scheme from the first prototype version. And now we'll give it to Nate. Maybe some other people in the office will look at it. I'll ask about the ears. Do we need to leave more area around the LEDs visible and without paint? Do we want to make it more opaque around the LEDs? This isn't necessarily its final version, so it'll go through another kind of evaluation process. We'll get the base painted, and then we'll ship it back to the factory, and they will try to paint it and get notes from us to nail down the process of how they'll manufacture it.
Alright. Okay.
We said?
We've got 31 people entered.
Ooh.
So I think we can roll it.
All right. So we're gonna give you, let's say, 30 more seconds. Any of you that are watching or lurking and haven't typed Hound into the chat, 30 more seconds, then we're gonna roll. $31. Did you enter the giveaway yet?
Is it still going?
It's going.
It's going for
We got like 10 more seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
All right, hit it.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's in.
Cool.
Kick it.
Kick it.
It's
DMN Game.
Hey, awesome! Congratulations. And thank you everyone for entering. Again, there's going to be a bunch more giveaways, so make sure you check out the schedule on the Discord or on the website for future shows, because we're going to be doing a lot more of this. But congrats!
Yeah, this is our Caverns Deep celebration week, so we're going to be doing giveaways every stream this week.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, hype in the chat. What's their name again?
DMN_games.
DMN Games.
I'm not sure if it's like DMN Games or
Demon Games.
Yeah.
Something like that. That's awesome.
All right, well, DMN Games, I went ahead and I whispered to ya. Go ahead and send me an email so I can get your info and send you your awesome prize.
Cool. All right. Well, I think this guy's pretty much wrapped up, honestly.
Did you name him?
All three of them?
Let's see. Harry, George, and William. Yeah.
Those are great dog names.
Yeah.
Harry, George, and William.
Yeah.
Is there a theme, or you just
Was it regular? He was there, just normal pooch.
Just normal
Brothers. But
He
the foul
actually had
magics
4 heads
bound
when he
their
was
souls.
born.
Yeah. Now they're cursed to live in hell forever.
Well, blessed to live in hell forever.
Right, of course.
I feel like it'd be a party, especially if you're also
party?
made out of lava. You kind of are like, all right, this is my environment, this is my temp. It cool.
You're right. You gotta,
You're
you
assimilating.
gotta take it in stride. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
that's
assimilating.
cool.
You just gotta get used to it.
Yeah.
Also, all the fun people are in hell. All the good parties are in
Cool.
hell.
All right. Well, what is our next stream this week again?
It's tomorrow at 4:30. It is our
Oh, that's
Cabins
right.
Deep build.
The whole team will be coming in and like adding to the build, right?
Yeah, it's gonna
Cool.
be great. It's gonna
Cool.
be insane.
All right.
Yeah, if you want more information and if you want to just generally stay on top of things, all of our social links you can find below the stream if you want to keep up on Twitter or Instagram. We tend to announce everything there. We also have our Discord link. We can put it in the chat as well as it's also below the stream. We try to announce everything there. We've been doing this for barely over 2 weeks. I think this is like our 3-week anniversary actually. Today.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the first day of the 3rd week of us streaming. So we're always looking to like improve this and everything. So your feedback is
Happy
invaluable.
anniversary, guys.
Happy anniversary. We're 3
Cool.
weeks.
Yeah, that's
What you guys give
awesome.
me?
Yeah.
Oh.
Is it another mini giveaway tomorrow? Tomorrow we're giving away. So we gave away Hellscape prototypes today. Tomorrow it's going to be some Caverns Deep prototypes.
All right. That's
Yeah.
an awesome set.
What are you doing for the Thursday one?
Thursday one, I believe
Just
it's in.
you wait.
Just you wait.
Just you wait.
I think it has technically been announced what it is.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a secret.
But yeah,
All right. Well, one last look. How is this in the frame? Can you see the LEDs and
looks good.
kind of?
Yeah,
or?
go ahead and give it like a little slow trim.
Yeah.
Oh, and shout out to Drew who sculpted it.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. Sometimes
always want to
Drew,
credit the sculptor.
Absolutely.
Sometimes Drew is actually in the chat.
Yeah, and he did a beautiful job with that. So.
Yeah, this is
He
really
does a great
cool.
job with minis. But yeah, credit the sculptor when credit's due. Isn't that right, Eli?
But don't you dare credit them when it's not.
Yeah, yeah. You keep
Not,
that
you
credit for
probably wouldn't
yourself.
be painting it, I guess.
Right. All right. Well, hey, thank you for watching tonight. Make sure you're around tomorrow when the whole team is building a giant celebration build, and we'll see you next time. All right. Good night.
All right, bye everybody.
Bye. Oh,
Bye.
bye.